Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Pipe Bomb Sessions. We are coming off Super Bowl 60, and yes, as predicted last week, Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks defense took care of business, and they ended up celebrating in San Fran, baby. Man, shoot. That game, don't get me wrong, was an extremely slow paced game. We saw both defenses kind of just coming out, doing their thing. And honestly, Sam Darnold was even a little locked up, but oh shoot. He got it done at the end of the day. The defense stepped it up as usual, as they've done all season long for Seattle. And guess what? The Seahawks were once again holding up the Lombardi Trophy. Mike McDonald became the third youngest head coach to hoist up that trophy, as well as Darnold has now completed his story as I predicted. Man, Darnold's story has been quite something, let me tell you. And now that man has a ring. He's the first QB in the first round from the 2018 draft, I believe, to win a ring. Yeah, the same draft that included Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Now, of course, a lot of praise not only goes to Darnold, but the Super Bowl MVP, K9, Kenny Walker. Man, was he on a mission. He was just running all over the Patriots defense. I was actually genuinely very impressed. I think he made a very big notion for the Seahawks to be like, hey, you want to bring me back? Or I'll probably go get paid and go play somewhere else and come next year. I would not be surprised by that whatsoever. Now, another few things that I just want to touch base on the opposite side of the ball, which was the Patriots. Now, I don't know if it was just me, but it looked like the New England Patriots were kind of a little bit out of sync, you know? Drake May looked like he was a little struggling out there. Maybe the bright lights were a little bit too bright for the young guy. Of course, don't get me wrong, the offensive line did not help him all night long. And, I got to say, fourth overall pick, Will Campbell, the Patriots going to have to figure that situation out because the right side did not look as bad as that left side. That left side looked atrocious against Seattle's pass rush. The boys were just getting in there over and over. And it didn't really look like they had to do too much to get to Drake May all night long. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Maybe we adjust Will Campbell, see what he's doing. That left guard, I don't even know what to say. But I think the Patriots have a lot of question marks that they have to kind of just adjust in order to stay contenders next year, right? Like, of course, they took advantage of a weaker schedule than most. But, I mean, that's what good teams kind of got to do. You take advantage of easy schedules. That's the whole point. Like, you wouldn't be in the position you're in if you didn't take advantage of that. So, I get it. A lot of people are like, oh, yeah, the Patriots got there because of this and that. But at the end of the day, the Pats defense played well all year long. And eventually the offensive woes caught up with them. Drake May, he struggled. I know, like, his final line looked pretty good. He had over, like, 250, 260, and he threw for about 67%. Again, final line. Let's look at the first three quarters. My man could not pass the ball to save his life. I'm almost positive it was either at the end of the third or the beginning of the fourth is where the Patriots got the first down of the game, and that was because of a holding penalty on the defense. That's freaking crazy in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of things could have went various different ways. I did not like the Drake May interception down the field. He needed to definitely lead his receiver, and he threw it to Julian Love straight up, and that really was the dagger. And if that wasn't, then, the Seahawks scoring again definitely was. But, hey, congrats to the Seahawks. Go celebrate that win. Sam Darnold, I know this is feeling amazing for that man. I mean, my man went from known as being a bust to holding up a trophy and leading his team to not only 14 wins and the first seed, but leading them all the way through, man. Guy finished a full season. He played a great year. Let's see what the Seahawks and Darnold come with next year, right? Of course, they're losing their amazing OC and Clint Kubiak. Congrats to him, because he not only just won a Super Bowl ring, he just became a head coach for Vegas. That's right. Clint Kubiak is going to Las Vegas to coach the Raiders next year. And that's a team that he now gets to go and just play with, because he will be able to, of course, draft, we're assuming, Fernando Mendoza, first overall pick. He still has Bowers. He still got Genty. He still got, he has Trey Tucker. I don't think their receivers are the worst. Of course, they can upgrade on that receivers. Let's help that O-line out. I think that's a very big mark that we have to do. And let's see if the arrival of Clint Kubiak and kind of what he's going to bring to the table, let's see if him, Tom Brady, and let's just see the Raiders try to see if they can retain Max Crosby. Of course, Max Crosby wanted out. He hasn't really said it, but he's kind of said it subtly. You know what I mean? And I feel like every year so far, like these past few off seasons, there's always a big name, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that's been just, hey, I want out. I no longer want to play here. Get me the F out of here. That's kind of what's been going on, right? Let's see. Let's see if the arrival of Clint, let's see if that really kind of turns the Raiders around, maybe changes some kind of notions. Not saying they're going to become Super Bowl contenders, but I mean, I'm sure that a guy like Max Crosby wants to see his team compete, especially because he's been the defensive anchor on that side of the ball for a various amount of years for them. I mean, their defense even looks rather slightly well because of that. Now, of course, as I said, the Patriots, they got a lot of work to do. They got to see, they got to build up Drake May. They got to get him a little bit of help. And I'm going to say it right here. All this hype about Drake May being, like a top quarterback and being that guy, that next guy. I think he proved all postseason that he's not ready. He's just there right now. And hey, not saying that's going to be his career, but he got to show us something come next year. Next year was third year now. Let's see if he can come in there and kind of take control of the offense. I don't want to see him take control of the offense against these subpar and lower tier teams. I want to see him take control of the offense and actually compete against some decent defenses, like decent, really high overall defensive teams. I think a lot of Drake May hype was happening for that reason. I was not part of that boat. I'm still not really part of that boat because I think Drake May has a lot more to prove than what we saw, right? And let's see if the Patriots get back there. As everybody knows, there's only one team and one quarterback that returned to the Super Bowl after losing his very first Super Bowl appearance in NFL history, and that man was Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts. Now, speaking of the Philadelphia Eagles, we got to see what the former Super Bowl champs are going to do, because damn, it's looking like right now, there's a lot of issues going on. Of course, Lane Johnson's contemplating retirement. We got Landon Dickerson contemplating retirement. We barely retained Vic Fangio because he wanted to retire. Of course, we finally got a new OC in the former Packers quarterbacks coach. We also hired Chris Cooper, who is the former Minnesota Vikings O-lineman coach, because of course Jeff Stoutland said, you know what, I'm out, I'm retiring, I'm out of here. And that worries me a little bit. Just historically, Cooper has not really done well. We could just see what the Vikings O-line has been like last couple years. And we can especially see last year, he didn't seem like he was developing guys to what we thought they would be getting developed to. You know what I'm saying? So I think the hiring of him is actually a downgrade from how I like to call him, Stoutland University. Man, that man was just, he was taking guys like Jordan Mailata and making them freaking all-stars, right? That's a starting left tackle in the league now, and a pretty damn good one at that. So losing that guy, I think, is going to be a big loss on the Eagles side of the ball, which we're going to see next offseason. Of course, A.J. Brown. We still have the A.J. Brown situation going on. Is he going to be an Eagle, be not an Eagle? I don't believe he's going to be an Eagle. I think he's going to leave at some point in the offseason. He gets traded. Hopefully, Howie Roseman can pull something off, and we're going to take a big cap hit from that. But hopefully, we can get some draft capital out of him regardless. I don't think he wants to stay in Philly. I don't think he's going to be in Philly come next year. I don't know what the Philadelphia Eagles are going to look like come next year. Because honestly speaking, there's a lot of things that are going wrong for them, including, of course, another offensive player who's going to want to get paid, most likely going to leave, is Dallas Goedert. So we're going to need a new tight end at that. We're not going to have A.J. Brown. We don't have a wide receiver 3. A lot of holes on that offense. On the defensive side, there's a lot of holes on that side. I mean, we're losing a few rushers. We're losing to Kobe Dean, possibly. Man, a lot of guys got to get signed, and the Eagles obviously can't sign them. And especially if we end up trading A.J. Brown, that cap hit and just dead cap money that's going to be there, sitting there, is going to be, that is going to be a little bit hard for the Eagles to come by. I'm not going to say that the Super Bowl window could be closed, but it's not as wide open as it was for the last couple years. I will say that and admit that. I hope I'm wrong. I honestly, genuinely hope that I am wrong, that the Eagles org, front office, they got everything down and they got something going on. You know what I mean? But I got to see this. I'm just a little nervous. Makes me a little, uneasy to see, hey, what's really about to happen this offseason? What do we got going on? You know what I mean? And it doesn't make me feel better that the Eagles are losing quite a few people on offense, maybe some guys on defense, and it's like, shoot. Now, a guy who is not retiring or leaving anywhere is Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matt Stafford. Yes, that's right. He said when he became the MVP and he was doing his speech, he said, I'll see you guys next year. We're going to try to run it right at home because, of course, next year's Super Bowl is being hosted in SoFi Stadium. So let's see if that is indeed gonna be the move and if they can make a run. You know what I'm saying? I think that is something interesting to look at. Man, and then of course we have a few people who are not only gonna get traded. I know I mentioned Max Crosby, I mentioned AJ Brown, but of course Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill wanted out last year in the middle of the season. Buffalo Bills receiver Keon Coleman. I'm not sure if he's just gonna be released or traded. It could be either which area. You know what I'm saying? And something big that we kind of got to take account for is what's gonna happen to teams like the Bengals, right? Of course, Burrow. I don't think they're gonna trade him, but let's say if they get a great offer, why wouldn't they trade him just to kind of build in that Obviously, you're not building for Burrow. If you were, you would be drafting some kind of O-line. You would, in my opinion, you wouldn't pay a wide receiver 1 to be your wide receiver 2 and pay him like a wide receiver 1 as well and T. Higgins. Don't get me wrong, T. Higgins is great. But you did not need to pay T. Higgins. You need to help Burrow out. Anyways, I don't know what's going to happen in that sense. I'm very nervous when it comes to them. Of course, as usual, last offseason, we had Myles Garrett who wanted out. He signed the extension. But that doesn't mean Myles Garrett's like, hey, all right, I'm cool with this. I'm going to stay here now. You never know. So I think there's a lot of things that can happen with a lot of teams. Of course, the Dolphins not only have to get rid of what's-his-face, Tyreek Hill, they need to get rid of Tua. They can't afford to cut Tua because cutting Tua is going to give them a $99 million dead cap hit. That is the largest NFL history. I don't even know what they would do. What the hell are they going to do if they have to cut him? Let's hope to God they get something going and trade Tua and somehow or another get him to get traded to someone who wants him. And on top of that, maybe the Dolphins just end up keeping him, killing another year out, looking towards it for next year. I would not be surprised with that. That's not, in my opinion, that's not a terrible move. Not at all. So Dolphins have to really figure their shit out if we're being like blatantly honest, right? Of course, I think a lot of teams are going to go after some wide receivers come this offseason. George Pickens is going to be one of the top guys. I just don't see Dallas letting him leave. Of course, they haven't came to some kind of agreement so far. I expect him to get franchise tagged, and then from there on out, we still got a few wide receivers who are going to be available. I mean, we got Alec Pierce, who another guy who could get franchise tagged. I don't expect him to be. I feel like he could go get paid. He hasn't been bad for a guy kind of playing as a third and a slot wide receiver over there in Indy. So I think it should be very interesting. And there's going to be a few guys, young quarterbacks, young coaches coming into some new coaching areas, new teams, and saying like, hey, we need to just go get our guys. I mean, one of them, as I mentioned earlier, was Kubiak. Kubiak may want to go ahead and bring Shaheed with him to Vegas. You never know, right? I mean, I think that's huge. And on top of that, I mentioned another Seahawk. That was Kenny Walker. Where's he going to go, right? Is Seattle going to pull the trigger and bring him back, or are they going to let him walk? Because throughout the season, we felt like, oh, maybe Seattle's just having Charbonnet play more because they're okay with Charbonnet taking over and Canine kind of walking. But I don't know, man. You really letting the Super Bowl MVP walk like that, and after he played so well? Let's see. Let's see what happens. I will be very interested to see how the offseason for both Super Bowl teams to get there, especially the Super Bowl champs, because yes, the Seahawks are built very, very well on the defensive side of the ball. However, is losing Clint Kubiak going to be a bigger situation for them than we are thinking about? Right now, they're of course going to celebrate, have a good time, enjoy this Super Bowl victory. But of course, as fast as a Super Bowl victory comes and gets celebrated, it's as quick that we start looking to the offseason and seeing what is next for a bunch of different teams, right? So I think it's going to be very interesting. Let's see what we got going on. I'm looking forward to the NFL offseason, man. I know this is where football gets a little bit slowed down, but hey, football is football at the end of the year. I'm cool with talking about it. I'm going to keep talking about it as I do, you know what I mean? So it's going to be dope. I'm excited. Let's see what not only New England Patriots do as a bounce back going into next year, but even what the Seahawks kind of do to prepare for next year after losing their coveted OC, who was fabulous throughout the year and postseason. And I can't wait to see what he could do with the rebuild in Vegas. I can't wait to see what kind of new contenders are built this offseason. As I say, the offseason and the draft builds contenders for the future, right? There's a lot of teams that did not make the playoffs who we know as the superpowers of the NFL, and they will make their return, in my opinion, next year. So a lot of competition just got upped on both the NFC and AFC sides of the conferences, and I'm excited. Let's see what the offseason has in store for us. Let's see who will be traded this year. I think someone big, either 1 to 3 names could be traded, right? I think it's huge, and can't wait to see who is going to be. I want to see if Max Crosby is going to go. Where the hell is my man going to be leaving to, right? I will say one thing that I do want to touch base on is the NFL. I heard NFL teams were pushing to extend the trade limits past the 3-year mark. So you know how you could trade 3 years of picks. They want to push it all the way to 5 years of draft picks. Now, if the NFL agrees to this little rule change that they want, the addition, if it goes to 3 to 5, that's an absolute game changer. I think that in itself is crazy because now you get a lot of franchise guys, a lot of superstars on the market. Like 5 years of draft picks, that's a lot. Are there teams out there willing to sacrifice their future in draft capital to go get that one guy that they think is going to turn their whole, not only season, but franchise around? Man, I want you guys to tell me. Let me know what you guys think. As usual, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week.